I like to just give away knowledge, give away information. Some of my clients came over from my firm before, so they're all great referral sources. So
Okay.
that's kind of how I like to grow organically. I made a lot of cold calls, is what I'm saying. My prior firms,
Yeah.
particularly cold call people. I have circles of influence. I'm not expert in everything. I know what I don't know. I know what I do know. I said that
Hmm.
backwards. Uh, Socrates type thing, the only
Yeah.
person who knows anything is that they don't know anything. But what I do know is I can find any answer. I have some professionals that I can lean on for certain areas, like if it's a, a difficult tax question, have EAs you can talk to. If it's a law question or trust question, I have attorneys I can talk to. And another good thing about that is with it being local, these are usually people who I've known for pretty much my whole life as well, who've gone off in their uh, professional career. So intelligent, knowledgeable people. And then, like I said, just people, if you do good work for people, like you gotta give it away, right?
Yeah.
Like you do things, it all comes back. If you do bad things, those are gonna come back too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing to have a business that just runs mostly on referrals and not having to always fish and kind of see what's out there and spend that time because you're right. I mean, I think there's several studies that have been read that if someone refers somebody to whether it's a doctor, a CPA, a financial advisor, they're more than likely going to go with them versus me just randomly getting called by and that individual or just me trying to find you online. So that's absolutely true. And that's a great practice to have, especially if that's kind of how you run your practice. Now, when it comes to actually, let's say you get the client in the door um, through LinkedIn or other marketing efforts that you do on a typical week a great client experience is a key differentiator for a lot of firms because at the end of the day, we can all say that we all do similar things with the investments and the allocations, but truly what separates a good advisor from a great advisor is that client experience and that trust and making sure that they're knowing that you're their person no matter what, good and bad times. So can you kind of walk us through and some of our readers and listeners too, like what's your meeting process? Because when I worked at firms, it was maybe we had three meetings and then they would close to become clients. One would be a review, one insurance, one asset allocation. What's kind of your process for when clients come into the office or you have those Zoom calls online with them?
Perfect. Yeah. So my process is probably a little bit different. I don't know. So the first meeting is going to be just a get to know you meeting, just get to know me, introduction meeting, kind of like we're doing right now. We won't really pull out any numbers, like show you anything. I'm not trying to show you how smart I am. I'm trying to make
Mm,
sure that you're a good fit for me and that I'm a good fit for you in that meeting. Because like I said, the number will be capped. Not the number now, but the number will be capped eventually. So I really want to work with people who I want to work with and who want to work with me. So we'll have that introductory meeting, uh, usually 30, 45 minutes. And then towards the end of that meeting, I'll get some of their like information, let them know that we can have another meeting. And in that meeting, I'll present to them a bit of a financial plan, not the whole thing, but just some ideas, different things. I'll show them like the actual data. I'll pull out their investments and show them what their investments are doing now, maybe some things you could change to make them do better. Because a lot of people are just in target date funds, which are just
sure.
a scam. Their
Yeah.
target date funds are, I feel some way about target date funds. I'm sorry. So then
No, I agree.
at
It's
the end of that, oh, go ahead.
it's frustrating that it's like the laziest form of investing is that type of product. But go ahead. Yeah, I completely am on your camp when it comes to target date funds. They absolutely have no benefit whatsoever, and then they're in qualified plans. That's even worse. But yeah, continue. Definitely agree with you on that, though.
Right. So then we just, and then we're sitting and we're talking. This meeting's probably like an hour. We're just talking. I'm telling them, showing them the numbers, showing them the math to it, because like I'm an analytic at heart. So I do like going in there and showing the math. I might get too deep into the math. Talk about just consequences of ideas of showing them. A lot of people think they're at a certain risk tolerance when they're really not that risk tolerance. Their investments usually off from where their estimates are. So in between the first, oh, and so in between the first meeting and the second meeting, I will send them out some information for them to send me back, like an investment statement policy, risk tolerance assessment. Um, send them over any things just to let them know the process. In between that meeting, the people who generally take care of that information and get it back to me, those are generally people who want to be good fits too. Another way that you're just kind of like phasing yourself in out the process because And even if they don't, that lets me know that this person would require more work just to get the information I need, because that's a good thing. So you have to set that standard. So usually at the end of the second meeting, uh, I'll quote them, let them know what it'll look like to work together with me. If we can either do the financial planning, which would be a holistic planning approach for a year. Uh, no, we won't just automatically charge you at the end of the next year. It'll just be a plan group, or we'll take the holistic approach to financial planning. We could do the assets under management, which is what people typically think about when they think about a financial planner. So you'll do that for a percentage fee, or you could do an investment vehicle if you need insurance or anything like that. And let them know that they can work with me as a fiduciary in one, two, or all three ways, right? So
Yeah.
at, at the end of that meeting, they'll either decide that they want to continue or they'll decide they're not ready to continue. If they decide that they want to continue at that point, we'll have a third meeting. At this meeting, we'll sit down and we'll go deep into the numbers because you do have to get the numbers, you have to do the data. So we'll probably sit 30 minutes to an hour doing the data gathering session. I'll come back to the lab. We'll meet again where I'll come back and bring some of the recommendations that I made for them, present them to them. If they're good with the recommendations, depending on the level of the level of however hard it is to implement this plan.
Okay.
It may take a couple or several more meetings to get the plan implemented. But once we get the plan implemented, so we're meeting maybe five, maybe six. Once we have the plan implemented, we'll meet quarterly after that. So
Okay.
we'll
Yeah, I
do
love it.
everything we talked about.
And then you mentioned with the asset manager that's altruist, and is that like a third party asset manager, fund manager, or what's that look like for the client, and how do they like what's kind of the benefit free up for you and for the client as well? Like what's kind of been the reason why you decided to outsource that bit versus in house? Is it because of the practice size, or just because you wanted to focus on mainly planning, or what was kind of the decision behind the asset management side?
Oh, I'm sorry. So Altruist is the custodian.
Oh,
No,
I'm sorry.
I manage
You're
the
right.
assets. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Altruist is the
Awesome. Okay.
custodian. Yeah, so they're
Great.
like Schwab or they're like
Yeah. Like
Fidelity,
interactive
those guys.
brokers, all those guys. Awesome. Okay. So when you come to your asset management side, so man, you do everything. That's awesome. I talk to a lot of advisors, and a lot of them will just, there's when it comes to, like, let's say, financial planning tech stack, they use Money Guide Pro or all these other different types of softwares. Can you talk a little bit about, like, when you manage the assets, when you do the financial planning, and you mentioned going to the lab and coming back, um, you know, for our business owners out there that are also practice IRA and SEC firms, what's kind of been your tax stack you use? Like, what have you found that's good? What have you found that's been not great? I know I have one IRA that I spoke to that just used Apple's Pages for their financial plans. It's like 3 to 5 pages. They don't have those complex financial planning software. So what kind of softwares are you using, Marcus? And if not, how do you kind of cultivate the plan and the asset allocation and with the amount of time that there is in the week in a business day?
Right. Yeah. So like you said, we've used some e-money guide software. We have different kind of, we're still testing out the different software, plan software, because that's a
Sure.
big commitment to commit to as far as which one you're using. I do like Morningstar. We use Morningstar to run some of our analysis in the background. HubSpot for some CRM stuff. Uh, Obviously, the whole Microsoft Office suite we use for a lot of things. SharePoint's a good thing. We use some Adobe for different things. So we use the complete tech stack. We just kind of cover up. And Altruist actually offers a lot of technical things on their side as well.
Like research and questions, and yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. That's very cool. So also when it comes to when we're talking about AI and data, because that's really what the IRA report is. It's really looking at underneath the hood of firms, and concerns I have with people talking about, I don't need a financial planner. I can just go into Chat GBT or Gemini, plug in my potential age, risk tolerance, and things like that. What do you see if we're going to look out to 2030? What do you think like a modern firm would look like? And do you think that there's going to be a problem with AI and chatbots that would take the role of financial advisors or more complement them? How do you kind of see the advent of AI with what's going on these days, Marcus?
Oh man, AI is definitely coming to take over if you're not prepared for it. AI right now, people have robo advisors that they use. People have AI that they use and talk to every day, like it's for their therapists. Some people use AI for different things. As far as building portfolios, once AI, 2030, the market will probably be trading 24 hours a day. They're moving towards that. So it's going to be
Yeah.
hard as an advisor to trade 24 hours a day, right? To be on top of those things. So yeah, if you're not growing with the AI, I don't use AI for to build any models or anything like that myself, but I know eventually that day is coming, where you can use AI or you have a strong temp behind you or behind someone who's preparing all these things. Otherwise, you're going to lose it behind in like AI. You see how it's taken over in other industries. I think Microsoft just laid off 9,000 employees the other day. And they won't say that it's based on AI, but AI is compressing the roles that people held. On the other side of AI, for someone like myself who has a smaller business, it helps because it helps with multiple hats, right? You can use AI for different type of things. So I embrace AI, but I know people like you've had mutual funds for years that just track the S&P. You've had
Hmm.
robo advisors in the last maybe decade. People want to sit down and talk with people, right? That I don't know if that ever is going to leave. I don't know if the new generation doesn't want to talk to people at all, but that's where you can differentiate yourself. It's advice. The idea is like ChatGTP can't come up with better ideas than I can. I mean, it thinks it can, but that data is still dirty sometimes. It's
Mm.
just the personal connection. It can't read into you. Like a text has no tone.
Yeah, I agree. I think the AI training is still a long ways away. I remember reading a article through Anthropic, which is one of the competitors to OpenAI, and they essentially assigned a AI that they created to run a vending machine business, and they would have a human, of course, know that there's a human restocking the vending machine, but the AI controlled the shipping or the supplies, ordering, maintenance, collection of cash, putting cash in, how much to charge, everything. And I think Anthropic was saying after like the third week, it got a little weird where it started thinking it was a human, where it was physically changing out the Cokes and the Sprites out of the vending machine. And it was like, I'm over here. And then it
Right.
had a company that it spoke to where the company's like, we don't have an employee that works here by that name. And instead of saying, I apologize, the AI said, we're going to change vendors. We're not working with you. You're calling me a liar. So, yeah,
Wow.
it's getting
Right.
crazy. There's not a lot of training, and you're absolutely right. And I agree with you 100%. Like the AI can do wonders when it comes to maybe some marketing, but going over financials and numbers, especially for humans that all have very differing financial needs, is going to be very hard for it for the next couple of years. Where a lot of firms are going to definitely be safe. So yeah, that's understandable. Now, do you come across do yourself investors, and how do you make the argument for? Well, let's say this. What do you kind of? Let's say I wanted to come to you. I am going to retire. I have maybe a couple step plans or a 401k, and I'm needing maybe to set up trust or just setting up my legacy and things like that. What do you typically charge clients? Do you just manage the money and just charge a fee off the managed money? Do you charge a fee on hourly, or what's kind of your compensation that you look at when it comes to working exclusively with clients?
Right. So yeah, like you said, there's they can pay me in one of three ways. Either they can just say I want investment, just take this money, put it in on our Truist platform for
Mm,
a flat fee. That would just be a percentage fee. If they want to engage in the entire financial planning process, that would be a planning fee. And that would depend on the complexity of the plan, right? Depending on how deep we're going into the plan to how much work they need. If it's someone who's just coming in and needs their 401k rebalanced every few months or you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff wouldn't be the
yeah.
same as someone who's coming in, like you said, looking to establish a trust. And in that situation, if they were looking in, coming in like to establish a trust, we would get to that part, but we would step way back and figure out like why do you think you need a trust? Because a lot of people think they need trust who may not exactly need trust. If it's a control issue, if you need control of what you have, okay, I understand that. We have attorneys who we could reach out to in that situation, like I said, for trust. But if it's a lot of people just the trust laws change when they get the tax cut job act. They like
Mm,
raise the limits. It used to be like hundreds of thousands be before the gift benefit kicked in. You had to
okay.
keep it on tax, and then it went to like millions.
Wow.
So all the people who need a trust to get the taxes, that's not exactly the case anymore. So people are a little misguided on trust. just kind of tell them slow down and trust. And I know you just mean in general. So yeah, there are people who want that type of advice, just to sit down and talk about it. And even though I'll say like I can't establish a trust for you, I'll tell them quick, you need to talk to a lawyer because you want that thing like tight, legally tight. But I can
Yeah.
help you with it, and I can help you with the investments inside of that trust. So that's how I would help someone who, if they were just looking like for trust.
Okay, great. So essentially, it's like, if I come to you for asset management and financial planning, if I needed those other things that only maybe an estate attorney can handle or even a CPA, even, you're saying there's a network for that where clients can be serviced and being taken care of in that aspect under your umbrella as well.
Absolutely. There are people that I work with, just like my circle of influence. And that, if they have some questions that they don't cover, they can
Hmm.
send people over my way and I can answer questions for them as well. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This is a very great story so far. And honestly, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, have you always been that way, or have you kind of just because I know you mentioned you've been GM, production management, pretty much most of your life. But before that, I mean, what made you wanted to just say, hey, because you did mention earlier, which we'll let the listeners remember, is that you typically don't want to start your own IRA right away. But if you're bold and you have the savings and you just really want to get out there, then Marcus has a great vision. But Marcus, can you tell me a little bit about like, have you always had this kind of capacity to be an entrepreneur, or did you just have like an aha moment one time and said, hey, I want to start my own practice?
Who knows what capacity I have, right? Where this
Right.
capacity came from. So no, I do always remember like I have this desire to learn. So like I have this insatiable desire to like learn. I'm always seeking to learn something new, something new. Like, and when I learn something, I want to learn it very deeply, go deep into what I'm learning. I don't know, like when I first started, my first experience, I guess, as an entrepreneur would start when I was a child. There was a lot of us growing up around, like we were family. I grew up with a single mom for most of my life,
Mm.
but like my family was around, so it was always a great experience. We didn't know we didn't have, we didn't have. We had a lot of love. So one of the first things I did when I was like 4 or 5 is I bought like a gumball machine. I guess I bought it. My mom gave me money, and you could put money in it and get gum out of it. And I
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it up there and let my cousins get it, and I got those coins. So that's probably when it first started. And then in high school, I took a business class, intro to business class, and just kind of fell in love with business from there, man. Like that's really where it sparked off. Was like senior year at Sun Valley High School. It was just, or I'm sorry, like freshman year at Sun Valley High School, and then just you join different clubs throughout the time. I've always been business minded, so all my majors have always been business. And then as far as just being entrepreneurial, it's just like, yeah, people have different thoughts on the risk of being entrepreneurs or not. But and this isn't my idea. I didn't come up with this. I heard someone else say it. It's a great thought though. Like if you're a W-2 employee, not knocking W-2 employees, or 1099, you
Hmm.
really are you're 100% dependent on the employer. Whereas if you're an entrepreneur, you have different ways to you have more control in my mind over how you can earn income. If you have 100 clients and 10 clients fire you, you still have 90 other clients. Whereas if you only have one job and that one job lets you go, you don't have any source of income. And outside, maybe you have investments, but it's just kind of different type of mindset. So I guess to get back to if you wanted to jump into this, well, first of all, you have to pass certain tests. So you will have to have knowledge. So that's a good thing about RIAs. RIAs, people who work with people RIAs, they do have knowledge, right? Because those tests aren't to some people they're easy, to some people they're hard, but they're definitely something you have to spend time in learning. So,
Yeah, and another thing that a lot of people don't realize, especially with IRAs, which is really great, a lot of people think, well, if I need to be a financial advisor, I got to go work for a firm, and all these big firms may not hire me because I don't have the caliber or the background. And a lot of people don't realize IRAs, you don't necessarily need to be hired by a firm to get your licensing. So IRAs, you just need your 65 and you can take that yourself. And, that's definitely a long study. I can't imagine. I remember when I first took it, I think I did like 6 months, 7 months, failed the first time, second time got it. But yeah, it's one of those practices where if you're lean You have some savings and you have a supportive partner, or just, just yourself. And maybe, I have a dog with me as well that I'm like, he was my first employee, he'd be in the office with me every morning while I'm making calls. But yeah, it's like one of those things where it's this practice is very unique, very lucrative if you can, find that niche and make sure that you're kind of sticking to the grind every day, and not really focusing on things that are kind of less important. So, when it comes to that, when it comes to wearing all those hats, like how do you decide what to work on each day, Marcus? Like how do you balance the urgent tasks like client requests, ACATs, transfers, or meetings, with the important long-term work like business development? So like what do you use as your personal philosophy, or like is it just you kind of get to the desk and then you address it? But what's kind of the way you've done your structure of your firm every day when you're addressing those priorities?
Oh no, I'm very structured. I'm a time blocker. I know it sounds cliche, but I block time off in certain amounts. I'm a creature of habit. Like as far as like how my day starts, how my day ends. The first hour and pretty much the last hour of my day are always gonna be the same. Stuff in between may be a little bit different. But like even like with writing, like I'll still write, but I don't have as much time to write or be quoted anymore. So I'll block off like a couple hours on Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe for
Mm,
that. And I'll let anyone who I may already have a relationship know, like, if you need anything, just let me know then, because I can get it done for you then. As far as clients, anytime if I need to meet a client, that's going to be my top priority because they have something that needs to happen. So I'll schedule around that. But every day I'm up. I'm up before most people. You know, it's a real old man trait when you start telling people how early you get up. So it's
yeah.
just like I'm, I'm up before most people. Just seeing what's happening in the markets. I love the markets. I love the way these things function. And then, yeah, so by the time most people probably start their day, I've accomplished a lot of different things. And by the time the market's open, I'm ready to tackle that aspect of it as well. One thing that I try to make uh, time for is to take a break from working every day, at least from like, 30 minutes an hour. Because
Mm,
when you're a solopreneur, you will find yourself working, it'll be, 8, 10, 12 o'clock at night. Those
yeah.
days happen. They just happen. You look up, you're like, oh, well, this has been a long one. So try to block off time and always try to make time for the family as well. So you have to make time where you're not available. Your time's your most important asset. People tend to
Yeah.
think that it is money, time, because people with money can't buy time. You can't buy more time, I should say. Like you can't buy a way to live longer than you're going to live.
Yeah.